All right, welcome back to another episode of Meet the Creatives. Today I am joined by It's a Living, Ricardo Contreras. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Let's get into the questions, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, first question. The obvious. Why It's a Living? Where did that name come from?
That's funny. That's the first thing everybody kind of asks me.
Yeah.
It's been like a journey for kind of the naming and kind of like it's just been a whole journey. So it started back in it's been 4 or 5 years, I guess. I was just watching this concert on YouTube, and it was like Death from Above, and I was so stoked I couldn't make it. It was a Coachella, whatever. And then I saw the drummer had like a super cool tattoo here on his kind of chest, like said like It's a Living, and I was like, oh, it kind of resonated in me, but like I was like, oh, that's cool. Then later, a couple years, I was just like looking for kind of like a name for a studio, kind of like taking like my branding side, something like that, because my name Ricardo Gonzalez, like it's pretty standard.
A little wordy.
Yeah. So I was looking for something, and I don't know, something like nothing really came up, and like for me, but then I started like freelancing, doing all this work, the things I like to do, and one of the things, lettering and illustration, and that's what I figured out. I would start making a living of what I love, and it became a living. That's why it's a living.
So I read that your passion for letter forms comes from your childhood when you were looking at old letters written in Spencerian by your grandfather in the 1950s. Can you tell me a little bit more about that experience and what that was like for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was like something very powerful at the time. I was just a kid, I spent most of my childhood at my grandma's house. She would take care of me. So just going through like papers and seeing all these like crazy, like super beautiful, like letters, it was like really cool to see like all this like perfect like letter forms. Everything was so neat, even though like using ink and the pen, and I just loved it. Also, I grew up a lot like looking at portraits and stuff like that. I used to draw a lot. I still kind of draw a lot too, but like my focus kind of like somehow came naturally in like letter forms. I wouldn't say like typography, because it really ranges from calligraphy, lettering, typography. Now I'm doing some kind of street art, but not really. So, and some art, fine art on the side as well. But yeah, the main focus is just words. So that's what I use for all my work.
Awesome. That's so cool. So from that point forward, was there ever a time that you strayed away from art and letter form design, or had you always kind of just like when you were a kid and you drew as a kid and then you just kept on going?
No, that's a good question, because like it was just something that I never thought like you could make a living off,
No pun intended.
Yeah, no, not at all. So what happened, like I started, like doing graffiti at a time. I was like in kind of like what is it, like 8th, 9th grade, whatever, middle school type thing. And then so
like
I used to just get bored. Yeah, I used to just get bored, and then like instead of taking notes, I wouldn't pay attention. I was just always drawing. So I started like, I'm just gonna make it fun, taking notes. So I started doing kind of like calligraphy. So I learned script, and all my notes, like it took me a lot of time to really like write nicely. And then after a couple of years, I'll just like like write really neat.
Yeah.
So I really got into that. But then after like I got into graffiti like really hard, and that's all I was doing. So I just went crazy. Like I was tagging everything. I was just tagging. That was my thing. Just writing everywhere. And then after that, like at some point things had to stop, especially that, because at the time, thanks to my mom, she gave me the opportunity to like go study graphic design in Canada. So I studied graphic design at this small college and in Hamilton. They teach a little bit of typography and stuff. I just never really thought. But at that time, I just literally like stopped doing everything. All I wanted to do is become a graphic designer. That was my goal. I want to be a graphic designer. I want to live in Canada.
So you made that at what age did you decide that? Was that when you went to college, or like when did you go from
18,
a hobby to
19.
a way of life?
Yeah, I was still like pretty young. Well, like I'm young, but at the time I was just like still trying to figure out things.
Yeah.
I was 18, 19, then graduated, and what happened was I I graduated, and then I kind of like run into the wall of kind of like, what am I doing now? What's the next? You know, so I found myself unemployed, and I got whatever job I could. You know, I started doing screen printing
The
for.
starving artist.
Yeah, yeah.
Been there. I'm here right now, so it's cool. Yeah.
Everybody, you know,
Yeah.
it's a great experience, honestly.
Cool.
But yeah, after that, I was working at a screen printing company, and then one day I was just really bored. I really want to do something that filled me up, you know, like something that I was my passion. So I bought a bunch of markers at this graffiti shop, and I bought a couple canvas and started, you know, just doodling, and then took some photos, and I would like started Tumblr, and kind of Tumblr everything took off, and then after that I started working freelance bits here and there.
Because you have a substantial amount. Your social media following is crazy. I think it's over 200,000, correct?
No, like Instagram like 100 and something
Yeah.
thousand, so it's
Just
good.
100,000. I'm getting close to like 500 on Instagram. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm making it. And then I go on yours, and it's like, but you deserve it though, man. And a lot of people
Thanks.
have been going crazy on just mine alone. Like, oh, we can't believe it. So
Yeah.
that's so cool. You definitely have a community that's engaged, and rightfully so, because you make awesome stuff. In the fall of 2012, you moved to Toronto to work as a freelance graphic designer. But after just 4 months, you headed back down south to your hometown in Mexico, Durango, Mexico, to work full time as an independent designer. What made you decide to go back home?
It kind of wasn't on me. I mean, at the time, I pursued to be a graphic designer. You know, that's why I moved. I was living in Ottawa, the capital. So I moved to Toronto, just kind of in a hope to like get a like full-time job as a graphic designer. After a few months, like, you know, like money started like going low, like no luck. So I had to move back to Mexico because my visa situation. Yeah,
Okay.
my visa situation, my work visas expired, so I had to move back. And it kind of sucked because at the time when I went back to Mexico, I got a few offers. Hey, we want you to hire you.
no.
Like, it just sucks. So like, oh. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things that made me push freelance. It's kind of like, all right, well, just gonna try to do it from home. So
When you returned home, were people aware of what you were doing in Canada and the States, or they didn't really know? Or did you kind of have to start from scratch once you got back to Mexico?
yeah, I mean, it was just like whole journey because I tried to do graphic design, and at the time my portfolio was the graphic design, some editorial, and you know, booklets, a bit of photography. So it was kind of like all over the place. But then when I went back to Mexico, that's when things started kicking off for me. You know, like trying to do, well, I was just doing more lettering, and just I had the time. Really, that's
Right.
what happened. I had the time to do what I love to do. So I was just doing weird stuff, putting it out there, you know, and eventually some people started hiring me to do it. I mean, it wasn't like I got everything right away, but like, you know, like getting little gigs here and there. So yeah, then it was like the ball of snow that kept rolling and rolling. So
That's so awesome. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that my ball keeps rolling and rolling. We'll see.
it
Right now,
will,
it's like
it
a
will.
little tiny snowball right now. So,
That's how it starts.
so then in the summer of 2014, you moved to New York City, my neck of the woods, and attended type at Cooper, where you earned a typeface design diploma from the Cooper Union. What was that like? And also, too, which do you prefer, typeface design or hand lettering? Do you like working
No, it
in
was
digital
typeface
space?
design. I
Yeah.
studied typeface design.
But I'm saying, which do you prefer in terms of typeface or like by hand?
That's what happened at the time. I mean, I was lucky enough to be accepted at the Cooper program at the time. It was only I did the condensed program, which was a month and a half, almost 2 months. And yeah, so I had to work a year and a half in Mexico, you know, just working, freelancing, whatever I could get just to make it to New York and pay the crazy rent and do all that. So when I finally got here, yeah, the program just changed me, you know, completely changed my work, made me realize how much everything I was doing was wrong, you know, and just it really made me dive into typeface design, typography, and more depth. And it really made me change what I wanted to do if I wanted to be a typeface designer or wanted to be an illustrator, letterer. So it just kind of shaped me. So it kind of like put me on this side of not doing typeface, although I appreciate it because it really sharpens your skills as a designer to understand the letter forms because it's
Yeah.
one of the most basic um, elements of graphic design. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list of things that I want to do, and I'm kind of at a point now in my career, my very young career as well, that I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. It's like one day I'm on like Handsome Frank, and I want to be like Malik Farber, and then the next day I want to be a typeface designer, and the next day I want to go work at a place like Collins like that. It's just all over the place, and I can't seem to find out which way I want to go. My question to you is, was there ever a moment where you kind of felt like I have to make a decision, or do you kind of just go with the flow and constantly switch it up? Because you do like everything. I don't understand how.
Not everything, but it's like
Yeah, a lot.
a lot. I just use the same thing for many stuff. Like what I do, it could apply for a cover magazine, a wall. It could be a sculpture. Like just it just has so much potential. But no, like going back to your question, definitely I went with the flow. Really, like okay, like I'm getting more projects of lettering. I'm getting more like stuff like this. Okay, I feel comfortable. I like it. I really enjoy it.
Hmm.
So it started all like coming together. Like very naturally. But like I always look up like other like famous designers. Jessica Hitch. Like uh, all these like people, Juan Carlos Pagan, they were like all doing super cool stuff. So I was like, wow, it's possible because for me being in Mexico, I never thought I could make a living, like
Hmm.
a career out of it. So once I started like the everything rolling, I was feeling like more happy and more confident. So I was like, this is what I want to do.
So you always post on your Instagram, your famous Instagram page, using all sorts of different markers, and they all look so cool. I have no money to buy any of that stuff, but as soon as I do, I'm going to. But you have all these really kind of neat markers and tools and things that are kind of outside the box to create these really neat effects. What currently is your favorite tool that you're using, and in the past, what are some of the other ones that you've used as well?
Um, I'll say like my favorite tools like by heart like just crank markers. I not just because like kind of promotion, but it's like I have a really good relationship with the brand, but that goes back from like me being in Mexico, trying to like get these expensive markers because I was also, in Mexico like not making money, like always wanted to work with them. There's some of the best out there. I just love them, and I can say that that kind of marker shaped my style. Like the monoline script. It just comes from tagging. Back then, I was just using this like markers, like Unipen markers.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a dream come true to come to New York and finally meet Craig, the owner, and Craig. And I've been working with them for a long time now, and super
Do you
supportive.
get free
So
markers?
yeah, they're kind of sponsors, so super supportive.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Sharpie ever wants to sponsor me, I'm ready for you. Let's do it.
No, I mean there's nothing wrong. It's just like preference. Some
Yeah.
people like other brands. I was just always a fan of Crank, and just working with them is like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like working with one of your favorite clients and
Right.
establishing a long-term relationship. Is what else can you ask for?
Yeah. So you've worked over the years. You've worked with companies like Pentagram and among others, and big agencies. Do you also talk about kind of going out on your own? What's it like to kind of have the financial stability of working with a place like that, and then to then go on and do your own thing? And because for a lot of people, myself included, it was really jarring and terrifying when it was like last month I made rent by like $100, but it was a phenomenal month of discovering and learning and doing all this kind of fun stuff. So it's like a trade-off. But for people that are thinking about making the jump, what would your advice be to them in terms of going it alone and kind of sticking with it even when financially it's sort of tough?
I'd say before leaving, because when I left the agency here, when I was here in New York, I started getting freelance. Like I don't know. I heard like for instance, Zipang. I heard his interview, and he was also, while he was at Tagmeister, he started freelancing just to kind of test the waters. So that's what
Yeah.
I also did at the time. Yeah, just pretty much testing the waters. Okay, getting like, okay, I've had 5 projects. I can definitely pay the rent with this, and I have more, So, and then you start figuring out, okay, like this could be a good time to leave until you finally make the decision. Okay, I have enough work. I have enough money saved. Actually, one of the persons who gave me really good advice was Justin from Working at Work, and he was like, you just gotta make sure you have enough saved to like survive for a few months, and that's what I did.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I think it's very
Save
important.
before you jump, man. Save before you jump.
Yeah, save, and before that, it's just like not just the money, but also having a portfolio ready
Hmm.
before living, like having something to show like right away,
Right.
And it's kind of like just preparing everything before making the jump,
Yeah.
because otherwise you don't prepare and you're just gonna jump and it's gonna hurt. So
Yeah.
I feel it's just the best way to just have some sort of like money situation solved somehow for a few months, but also have all your work like ready to go,
Yeah.
to show like, so by the time like when you quit, you already have, some job offers and stuff like that. It happened to me, like, I was so close to like work for Apple or Nike full time, but it just things happened that didn't happen to work for them. I was kind of bummed at the time, but like it
Yeah.
ended up working out for the best. So now working for me, and is good. I have a lot of freedom. So what else
Right.
can I ask for?
Exactly. There are a lot of people just graduating now who are trying to get jobs and trying to get noticed. There's somebody who's done that very successfully. What would your advice be in terms of trying to get a foot in when you don't necessarily have the experience or agency experience? What's your advice in terms of getting um, recognized in this creative community?
Just patience, really. I mean, a lot of hard work, but like patience and knowing that your time will come, because if you work hard, really hard, people will appreciate that. But if you also make lots of friends, I mean, it's not also for the sake of just making friends or making connections,
Hmm.
but it's just like meeting people, really. Because for me, what happened, it like I only have 2 months to like be here in New York, and at the time, all I wanted to do was just meet people, like because it was a one lifetime opportunity for me to be in New York. So I just went and met everybody I could, talked and asked people, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Hey, and eventually everybody, especially in New York, everybody's very helpful, and I'm sure like the designer community is also like really really supportive.
Yeah.
So once you like you're confident, like just do it and then just relate, because the community is very supportive, and it's not really like competition. I don't see it as a competition. There's
Yeah.
a lot of like inspiration and lots of uh, um, feedback between designers, and eventually like the brands will come to you, because now brands focusing on finding talent, not talent finding the clients, so
Right.
all you have to do is pretty much like put yourself out there, just try your best and be patient. Eventually good opportunities will come to you, and don't forget to check your email, because
Yeah.
sometimes you will not see it, and then
It's too late. They've already hired someone.
yeah, they already had someone and you missed out the project or the brand you always want to work for. So
For sure.
yeah.
Did you have anybody along the way? I mean, like for me, it's been in particular, it was, Ron Burridge, Brian Collins, Debbie Millman. There are people that have made these huge, who have had huge influence on my life. Did you have anybody who you looked up to?
Yeah, it's crazy because I met like some people, that I always admire, Juan Carlos Pagan is like good friend, and we're really close. He gives me advice a lot. Alex Trashud is another like really amazing designer, illustrator. And they make time for you like when you're like unsure and what to do, and you see them as more experienced person and professionals, and they really help you out, and they help me out a lot. And Shane, I have a lot of like friends that been very supportive. Justin, from
Yeah.
working or working
I always wanted
like
to be friends with Justin, so I'm like really pumped that we're like sort of, we're getting there. Our friendship is growing, so it's good. I remember seeing his Skillshare class being like And it was weird. I watched the Skillshare class with Claire and Justin, and this is when I was still in school. That just shows how young I am. And I was like, man, I gotta be friends with people like that. And now I'm friends with both of them, so it's kind of neat. So it's a beautiful full circle.
Yeah, it is, and we all know each other, so it's a really good community. They help me out a lot, really, like a lot.
Sure. Yeah. So just in closing, I wanted to thank you for coming on the podcast. This has been awesome.
Oh, thanks, Rob. It's fun.
You're an awesome
Thank
guest.
you.
If you want to come back on anytime, bro, I can come up with more questions.
Cool.
But as far as the future is concerned for you, and I know you're doing 15,000 different things at any given moment. But what are you planning to do for the future? And are there any things you haven't tackled yet that you want to?
I don't know. It's tough to say now because it seems like the things I wanted to do, bigger walls, more art, kind of street art, like just really experiment. That's really what I want to do. Not really focus on like, I want to work with this brand, or I mean, eventually they will come. But I think that's the best way. Just keep doing what you love, and that's what I'm trying to do. Just doing what I love and see what happens, and just progression, really. Yeah.
That's awesome, and I love it. Where can people find you? I mean, most people are probably already following you, but where can people find you on social media, your website, and all that jazz? So
they can find me. Well, my website is www.itsaliving.nyc. My Instagram is It's a Living. Behance, It's a Living as well. So it's kind of
just
all
type
across.
in It's a Living, you'll find it.
Just It's a Living. Something will come up.
Thanks so much for coming on, man. This is a lot of fun, and I hope to see you again soon.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation, and let's talk soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Bye, buddy.
Bye.